$170? Stop it, bro. That's the recommend. Whose budget is this? Whatever it is that you do the damn thing. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to T3G. My name is Dolly Boda, and today we are reacting to Think Media. Here's the thing. I've been following Think Media for a long time, and I have noticed some particularities about the kind of budget things they recommend. And recently, they put out a video that was basically create a budget YouTube studio, and I wanted to react to it. So I haven't even seen it yet. I don't know what it's gonna look like. React to this. There it is. Okay. We'll come back to that podcast. Budget YouTube studio setup, mics, lights, and accessories. Let's see.
They say buy cheap or buy twice, but I disagree because here are 10 things you can buy for your YouTube studio setup that are budget, but yet worth every penny.
Here's the thing, and I've gone through this with them before. They are very particular about the kind of stuff they recommend, and specifically, the lav mic you're listening to right now is $12. They consistently and repetitively recommend a $50+ lav mic that isn't required, especially for something that you're calling budget. But I don't know if that's there, but it's just historically, that's the one they go with, so I just have a feeling. But let's see what else they talk about.
The first thing I would recommend is the Rode VideoMic Go.
Bruv, Rode VideoMic Go. We're gonna just live right now. Amazon.com. Rode VideoMic Pro. No, was it Mic Go 2? There it is, right there. Mic Go 2. $100. $100. Let's hear the reasons.
This mic comes in at under $100, and this is a condenser mic, meaning...
Can we stop doing that? Can we stop doing that? Can we, as a community of people who try to help other people with setups and with tech and with gear, can we stop acting like 99 is under $100? Because if you don't have Prime, it's over $100. And if you do have Prime, it's still over $100 because you have to pay for Prime to get the 2-day shipping.
You would typically boom this mic either out of the shot or put right on top of your camera. But what's so cool about this mic,
it's a usable mic. It's a good mic. I think Hottest This has the previous version. It's a $100 mic. Like, we are already outside of a lot of people's budgets.
It sounds incredible even when you bring it up really close to your mouth. So if you use it like a dynamic mic, like for podcasting, it is gonna give you a nice rich sound coming from it. And another cool thing about this mic is not only do you need to just plug in a 3.5mm mic jack cable into the mic itself and then into your camera, but you can also use it as a USB mic. So you can use the USB port that is on the mic itself and select it as your mic. And I love bringing this mic as my mic to travel with because it's versatile in that nature. You don't need to power this mic. And I'd say, just generally speaking, this mic sounds way better than just $100. And so if you're looking for a great condenser mic, then I would look at the Rode VideoMic Go 2. The next budget piece of gear I would recommend is the Samson Q2U or the Samson...
I love this fucking mic. And I will say, now the Q9U, I'm pretty sure is much more expensive. Hold on, let's see. Samson Q, now look at that. I didn't even have to. Q9U, $100, shocking. Q2U, great freaking mic. Absolutely great. Like, look at that. But 50 bones, right? Much better as far as mics go. I've used that mic for years. When I started using it, I bought it on like a clearance thing. I ended up getting it for like, I think $15. Like, I'm so happy I bought that. That was one of those, like, I don't really have $15, but this is a great deal. Back in the day, like, I've been complimented on how good that mic sounds in countless games. It's a great mic. The Q9U, that's a $100 mic. Again, $100. Even the 50 is not a top, like the 50 is it's a high budget. I think a $50, like, I have been debating about buying that Q2U, like another Q2U, because I like the Q2U I have so much. It isolates really well. And for the podcast that I do in-house, I really want to get it, but it's still like $50. It's pretty high. And then the 100, we're not even talking about the $100 Q9U.
Q9U. Both of these mics come in at under $100. The Q2U,
Again, we got to stop doing that.
It comes with a mic stand and everything you need essentially to get going straight out of the box. The Q9U at the time of shooting this video is only $100 on Amazon, which I think is like an insane deal. But this mic needs a little bit more accessories, whether you get a boom arm with a clamp or you want to get a tabletop stand for it. And you can also use them with the XLR option, which I like using when shooting podcasts at my studio. And personally, I love the design of the Q9U. It has a very vintage look, but still super cool.
And again, we're leaning, right? We're leaning the viewer to the heavier, more expensive product, right? We're leaning, oh, I like the design. It's a little cleaner, a little this. It's a microphone. It needs a microphone. This is the kind of situation where I'm like, I kind of want to blow $100 to show that there is not much of a difference in the sound between these two mics. It's literally just an aesthetic choice, and $50 is not worth the aesthetics.
The third mic that I want to recommend is a wireless lav mic. So this is the most
Deity. Damn it, I forget what, but it's a Deity. It's a Deity mic. It's $50. Watch it.
most versatile type of mic because you actually can move around and get consistent audio, but that is the Deity Pocket Wireless. I still have yet to find an all-in.
Oh, wow. They went even, the Pocket Wireless? They went with the Pocket Wireless. Hold on. That's got to be at least $100. $170? Stop it, bro. We are in the hundreds of dollars for just microphones. Whose budget is this? This feels like when you've done the budget thing, your channel is growing, your social media presence is growing, and you are ready to take the next steps, right? You are ready to upgrade one level up so that you can increase things and make it look a little prettier and make it sound a little better. This is not budget. I'm sorry, dude. This is not a budget setup of anything.
And convenient, which is a great one-time purchase if all you'll need is one.
Bro, come on, man. The headphone jack screws into place. Yeah, that's a great feature. It's a fantastic feature. It is not a budget feature. Stop.
The next piece of gear that I think is worth every penny is a solid state drive or an SSD. And you can get a 2 terabyte solid state drive.
It almost sounds like he's saying that you should be working from an external drive, which I don't want anyone to be mistaken. You should never be working from the external drive, ever. That is a transfer drive. That is, you put your finished project onto this so that you can move it to another backup drive later. You don't work off external drives, folks.
The next recommendation I believe you should buy more than just one of, and that is fast SD cards. A friend recently...
You don't need these. You don't need these. You do not, I really need to stress that you do not need these. If you are not getting paid to make video, you do not need these. Let me show you the cards I record with. Where did it go? I had the extra right here. There it is. This is what I record with. This is a micro SD Samsung card that plugs into an adapter that goes into this camera. This one finally died after, no, not quite 10 years, but almost 10 years. Because I got these in my old house. We've been here for 6 years. Unless you're recording with a high-end camera, at which point you're not watching this video, there's no reason for you to have a $70 and a 2-pack. So like, how much are you recording that you need 2 cards?
He hit me up and he said that his camera wasn't allowing him to record past like 7 minutes or so. And I said, get a faster SD card. And it allowed him to record 30-minute increments in his camera. And he had a fairly older camera, but because his
fairly older cinema camera, because that's not a thing. What you just described is not a thing. Unless your card goes bad and then you have a thermal issue. This is the reason I stopped using this one, because I was recording on this same camera, the SL1. I was recording the podcast and all this stuff, and after like 7 to 10 minutes, it would just freak out and be like, oh, it's shut down because of temperature. So unless you're getting thermal warnings, there's absolutely no reason that you're, again, you do not need fast memory cards to resolve problems. Like this is it. This is a $10 card. You should not need ridiculous cards to resolve this problem that he's describing, unless you have high-end cameras or you are recording at the like this setting. I forget what it's called, but we tried that once. It doesn't go well, and it does not like cheap cards at all.
SD card was so slow, the camera couldn't write fast enough in order to capture 30-minute files. And so
that literally means that the camera is recording at a much higher quality or a much higher frame rate. Then they probably just had some cheap cards, or the card that came in the like Amazon kit or whatever, because I have never had this problem with regular cameras when you buy regular cards. Cheap cards I've had this problem with. Like built-in kit cards, I've had this problem with.
The next recommendation is a compact tripod from Ulanzi called the Ombra tripod. I've been loving this tripod so much.
How dare you? How dare you? You have a is the battery dead? All right, fix that. Let's take a look. $70. Look, that is how much I spent on my first like big, and it was a big tripod, probably way less portable than this one is. The ball head mount is nice, and it looks like it's the Arca Swiss type head, which I would recommend. I've already done a video about this.
A little bit of red accents, but this tripod has been great since I've been using it for the last few months, and I've taken it on a couple of.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you see the actual stuff he's using versus the like budget thing he's talking about, everything in that shot is worth so much more. The tripod is important, and the tripod being $70 is, I mean, it's fine. Like, I think it's a fine price point. But this is, again, we're talking about a home studio, like a budget YouTube studio. For me, in my head, means that you are in a corner somewhere in your apartment or in your house, or you have like myself, maybe you are lucky enough to have a room where you can record. You don't need a tripod. I have one right there. I use it very rarely. It collects dust most of the time.
Trips and has taken a beating, but they also have another one if you want more of a video head that you're going to do.
You'll notice we're going to run back real quick. They mention this one by name, but then show the more expensive one and the price of that one.
Do more panning and tilting. The next recommendation, this is going to help you with live streaming and video conference calls, but that is the Blue AVS capture card, which is a super
reasonable. I think that's the same one that I did a video on, or if I didn't do a video, I should do a video. Regardless, I believe that's the same one that I've been using. I forget what it's plugged into at the current moment, but yeah, that's reasonable. They're all about $20. That's not necessarily that one, but they're all within that range.
Cheap capture card that'll allow you to use your camera as a webcam very easily, as well as a continuous power adapter. I think these two things are the smartest purchases you could make when you own a camera.
You have to be very, very, very careful with the continuous power adapters. We have in the past had issues with those. I think it was the T3i that Hottest used to have, or I think he still has it, but it ended up having, maybe it wasn't even the T3i, it might have been the 70D. Regardless, one of the Canons that Hottest has ended up going bad. Like a board inside ended up frying because of that. Let me rephrase that. We are pretty confident that's why, because it had no issues before. We started using that for a very short amount of time, and then suddenly, like, it wouldn't stay on. It would randomly turn off. All this stuff started happening to it, so we stopped using it. I did a lot of research before I bought the one that I use for the SL1. Essentially as close as you can get to brand name, or if you can afford the brand name, because Canon does sell this stuff, Sony sells this stuff. The brand name ones are going to be properly set up for your cameras. If you can go with the brand name, if you're trying to save some money, look at the reviews, heavily look at the reviews. Look at reviews on multiple platforms, not just Amazon, but everywhere. Try to find the absolute best one. And, I hate to say it, in this category, if you are looking for something, if you are looking for a continuous power source free camera, you could do damage if you go super cheap. That is my warning.
This next recommendation is one that we absolutely love, and that is the use of StreamYard for your online interviews. What I love about StreamYard is it's a web-based software that allows you to easily send a link to a guest, and you can actually use it for an online interview.
I'm playing around with StreamYard. That might be the way to go. I'm confident this is probably their sponsor. Yeah.
This recommendation, a lot of people like to super cheap out on, and that is lighting. But trust me when I say this.
Now, if you watch this channel, I have a lot of opinions about budget lighting. This is coming up. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. That's coming up soon. I like it. That's the out-of-the-box battery. I've used it like 3 podcasts. We're going to get to it. I'm curious to see where they go with this, because if I hear Aputure, I'm ripping them apart.
If you invest in good lighting, you'll never have to invest in it again. And the light that I love most...
That is arguable. Everything you do for your channel, everything you do for the content that you make is an investment, regardless of how small or large it is. If you have the money to buy a $32 set of lights, 2 of them that let you light anything you want, see the video I did recently. If you have $100 for lighting and you decide, I'm going to buy one aperture light, that's a choice you're making, but is one light versus two, I'd rather spend $60, $65 and buy 4 lights and be able to light anything in any way I want.
At its price point is honestly the Amaran 60
Lucky.
Hub light that comes in at around
$170 for a single light. How is this budget? How is this budget? So we're talking $100 for a mic, $70 for a tripod, I guess, if you're going to go with a tripod, $170 for the light. You haven't even touched the camera yet. You're already over $280, $300. Stop it.
But you also can use it with external batteries. So if you don't want to plug it in, or maybe you're running and gunning and you need...
Or you could spend $30 and get the Waylight SO5 that's battery powered. And let's see, still fully charged after 2 weeks, 3 weeks at least, still fully charged. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that 7 times and light your scene however you want.
Just set up a shot real quick and light yourself. I love being able to use external batteries, which is super nice. But when you pair this with a lantern softbox or a dome light softbox, which comes in at around...
Which, don't get it twisted, can be done with the other kind of light too. This, you can mount this. It'll be a different setup, obviously, but you can also put this in a softbox that will make things softer and make it different.
$80 to $100, and you're going to be surprised when you invest into a light setup like this, and you're going to be like, dang, I look like a legit YouTuber. And that's because
if you properly light yourself, regardless whether it's a $170 light or if it's a $32 kit, I'm only using one. Where's the other one? Here's the other one. I am literally, you heard it, I need to move stuff around, I need to clean up in here, but I will be setting up these 2 lights as my main light and will be recording properly, and you'll see a nice separation from the background. All you need to do is light yourself. You don't need to spend $170 to light yourself to be a legit YouTuber. For people who spend a lot of time talking about, oh, anyone could do it, just hit record, right? There's a little bit of gatekeeping. There's a little bit of, like, you could be doing it better. Like, regardless of what you're doing, you could be doing it better. Like, for him to say that, like, you might think you are legitimate if you have better lighting. As soon as you hit record and you publish to YouTube, you're a legitimate YouTuber.
The next recommendation is this wide-angle clip-on lens for your smartphone that costs $40 at the time of shooting this video. This is called the Zenvo wide-angle clip-on lens. And I personally...
So Aukey is no longer a brand. I'm gonna have to do some research into that. Interesting. I mean, on the surface of it, this looks like a reasonable lens. It looks very similar to the Aukey. We won't lie. We'll throw that in the cart. Might have to do a video. So that's new. Something I don't know about. Interesting. This is a lens situation that it's super easy if you have a single lens on the back. Because when I had the Pixel, before I had this case, mind you, when I had the case that and it really, the best application was without the case. I'm pretty sure if you've been on this channel, you know my opinion about cases and why you should always have one. On the LG Wing, it is a lot more touchy with the lenses, so it's not necessarily always a great solution if you have a multi-lens setup on the back of your phone. However, they can definitely produce some very interesting, very cool looking results. So not a bad recommendation. So that's 2 not bad recommendations.
Not only just for Instagram stories, but also even for Reels. And the reason is because most of the time your smartphone has one superior lens on it, but it usually isn't that wide. And the wide angle lens doesn't do too good in low light. And so I personally love using this clip-on lens on my iPhone with the best camera.
But right there, you'll notice it right there. You'll notice you just look at the mirror back there, right? You see it just kind of like disincorporate at the edges. Like, there are drawbacks to these lenses, but again, generally a good idea.
In the rear, and honestly, I keep this lens in my backpack because at any moment when I want to create something with my smartphone, I just clip on the lens, start creating content. A few months ago, I got this accessory, and it's definitely changed the game when shooting talking head videos, and that is a wireless remote for your camera. And depending on the camera you have, you might need to get a wireless remote.
Extremely specific recommendation based on the type of camera that you have. If you have a camera like the SL1, you can plug it into a monitor so you can see yourself, and that way be able to record. Like, I just reach back here and hit record. That's all I do. It really is going to depend on the lens, of course. If you are using something that requires the camera to be far away from you, you might need to invest in some sort of record button. Most phones have a Bluetooth option, so like when you're in the app, in the camera app, just pressing it will start the recording. So, and most phones have a really pretty intelligent autofocus, so like there's not a ton of concern about not being in focus if you do like the rear facing camera. So that's that. Let's close this here. That's that, right? That is expected, right? It's expected. I didn't do this video so I can shit on Think Media or, you know, catch him in a lie or whatever. I think there is a pattern of like YouTube gurus and YouTube, you know, creator people who recommend things that give them a high return. So if you decide that you're going to go and buy the lav mic, right, that $170 lav mic is going to give them a much higher affiliate commission than the $12 lav mic that I use and recommend. I am not trying to milk every penny out of the people that watch my videos that I can. I am trying to give the best possible recommendations for the best money, right? The value exchange is my number one concern. That's why I'm such a huge fan of the Waylight LEDs, because they are incredibly good, incredibly featured for very cheap. So like you're getting a ton of value in this, in a cheap price point, $30, $20. And it's the same reason I got mad that I had to buy this stupid thing again, because guess what? I literally use it as a tripod. I'm going to be replacing it with just a tripod just so I can get it out of my sight, because it also, right, it's not just the tripod, because now it takes up table space as well. It's a whole thing, right? I'm mad at it because it's very expensive and unnecessary. If I had spent the $28 for it, I'd have been fine. It's all about the value prop. I personally, my mission is to find you, the viewer, the best possible deal and the best possible quality available for your videos at the lowest possible price. If I can eke out a full kit with camera under $50, that is the ultimate goal, right? That's the ultimate goal. And I'm talking lights, I'm talking mic, I'm talking stand, everything. Full kit under $50. That's the ultimate goal. I'm getting close to 100. I'm like almost there for the 100. And we're talking about with camera. Okay, with camera. That's an important one. Whereas to this day, the cheapest camera I've seen people like Think Media recommend is $500. That's nuts. That is insane to me. To call that a budget anything, granted, budget, generally speaking, can be anything, right? What is your budget is the question when you start any project. If you have $100 to do something, now you need to figure out how to fit everything in $100. If you have, I mean, that's the whole point, right? We used to do budget builds on this channel for computers, right? We would be a $450 budget, $750 budget. But guess what complaint we got almost every video? How is this considered budget? Because at some point, everyone watching is looking from a different budgetary perspective. And generally speaking, when people say budget XYZ, budget car, budget, you know, whatever, the invisible preceding word is low. Low budget. Low budget. That's what we're talking about here. And that's why starting the video with a $100 microphone, I knew where it was going to go the whole time. So that's going to be that for this one. Thank you for watching. Think Media is linked down below. They have a lot of good content. YouTube Tech is specifically just the one area where I find myself ideologically clashing with them. They have a lot of really good information, especially regarding like how to grow your channel, best practices, best habits, things like that. I think there's a lot of great information on their channel, so definitely check them out if you for some reason don't know them but you're watching this. For your best value needs, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
The Babers wants to be in a podcast.
It's not a podcast.
The Babers wants to be in a review. She says, let me review. She's ready. She has opinions.
This is the kind of shenanigans I have to deal with.